Right, when we talk about riding our bikes fast in a triathlon, there is one name that springs to mind. It is Cam Wurf. So thanks so much for joining us today, Cam.
Thanks for having me, and my bike.
So Cam owns the Ironman World Championship bike course record and has just set the Nice bike course record, and is working up to another stellar performance for 2018 World Ironman Championships. So today we're going to be running through some top tips from Cam. Okay, Cam, our first top tip for the bike.
When I'm racing, I try not to think too much about metrics. I try to think about riding fast. And what I mean by riding fast is you've got to look for speed on the course, and then that can sometimes mean accelerating over a rise and accelerating down the other side to get up to top speed, and then you might sort of have a bit of a flush of the legs and back things off a bit. And it's a bit like what we do in a time trial on the road. Because I found that when I just try and keep a steady power, while that in theory for triathletes is meant to work, I'm not really your normal triathlete. So I've obviously come from a very different background, and it didn't help me run any better. So I feel like I need to be more racy. I mean, I like to treat it as a race. So I'm out there racing. I'm not out there trying to do my personal best. I'm out there trying to beat everybody.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, the fastest way to obviously to ride a time trial is to find ways to find speed on the course.
So you're actually, rather than getting too bogged down in the watts, the power that you're putting out, it's actually that speed, because at the end of the day, the speed is contributing to how fast you go and the time that you're
It doesn't matter how much power you've got. If you're going slow, you're going to go slow. So the most important thing is to go fast. I mean, in Kona, I didn't even have a power meter. I just didn't bother looking at it. And so once I was on my own, I was able to feel the speed and feel the road, and there's lots of rollers there. There's lots of opportunities to go fast. And, I mean, obviously that, for me personally, comes from years of racing on the road where you're either riding on the front, and looking for opportunities to, increase the speed of the bunch, with ease, and then obviously have periods of recovery as well. And now I've taken that same approach into triathlon. But I think for everyone, I mean, I understand there's a big training focus on average power over a certain period of time. But if you break it down, not many people are going to do that optimal 4 to 5 hour power in training really anyway. So for that longer period of time. So breaking it into small pieces, and just concentrating on riding your bike quick for a perceived effort. And that's I guess is probably the key word there, is focusing on perceived effort as opposed to, average power.
Next top tip for us.
Clothing. And basically and the sort of the easier ways to get some free speed. If I had $1,000, I'd spend 800 of it on my suit and my helmet, and not that much on aerodynamics for my frame or for my wheels or anything like that, because this is the thing that's slowing you down. So, I hear a lot of people talking about tyre widths and fitting in the rim and this and that and whatever else, but they're using a helmet that I know is a piece of junk or an outfit that, has a huge amount of drag on it. So, invest wisely, especially if you're, on a bit of a budget, which most triathletes generally are when they're buying this stuff. It's not cheap. And I guarantee you that you're going to find more speed out on the course by having a really good, fast, reputable suit and helmet. It's got to fit really well. That's the start. I mean, if there's anything flapping or baggy, well, obviously it doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, find a suit that fits you, but then do your research. I mean, you just want to make sure you're not constantly jiggling and wiggling and worrying about where it sits.
Okay, and on the aero helmet, visor, no visor, tail, no tail.
Again, with that one, I mean, the helmet is the most important. The glasses, and visor, I've certainly done a lot of testing and found pretty negligible as to the advantage.
Okay.
You can obviously have more of an advantage by having more wind on your face because it cools you down. So if you think about over the course of 4.5, 5, 6 hours or however long you're out there, probably having that cooling effect on your face is going to be of greater performance advantage than having a visor covering it and making you hot and uncomfortable. And a helmet, I mean, if you have a position where you like looking around and up and down, there's no point having a helmet with a big tail on it, you know, and one that's molded to your back. You're better off getting, you know, something like what I wore in Kona is perfect. That the Cas Bambino, it's been around for a long time, and
so small. It's got almost like a little bump.
It's almost like just a normal, you know, helmet, but obviously it's very, you know, very well made, very aerodynamic at the front, which is where the wind hits. One of those is probably the way to go.
Okay, our third tip.
Find a bike that fits you, not you try and find a bike that you want to fit. I see so many people that, you know, they got the bike of their dreams or they want it and then they find out it's not comfortable. I mean, not every bike is for every person. I personally tried about 6 different bikes last year. And I define a bike by fitting by, I can really have the position anywhere and it's comfortable.
Okay.
So I could certainly find a more aggressive position and I could probably hold that for 5 minutes, but I can't do it for 5 hours.
So very different from, and the same with the kit as well, I guess, is we're talking about being on the bike for 4+ hours, not 20 minutes for a 10-mile time trial.
That's right. That's right. And so you might be great for 5-10 minutes, but you'll be walking in 5 hours' time if you're on a bike that's uncomfortable. So, you know, do your homework, ask around, don't rush. You know, find something that really fits you, that feels really comfortable. And then once you've found something that's comfortable, it's at that point that you start looking for that free speed. It's at that point that you start to modify things, you start to move your arms, you start to move your saddle position, do little tweaks here and there, but certainly don't get a bike and say, oh, okay, now I've got to try and make it fit me. If you want to have an enjoyable Ironman, this is.
Okay, Cam, now you've already slightly touched on this already, but I'm really interested to hear about how you pace for a triathlon, specifically a long distance triathlon.
Yeah, I mean, the key thing in an Ironman is you know you're going to have these big peaks and troughs. I mean, you're never out there for that long and feel amazing all the time. So it needs to sort of change with how you're feeling. And some days, for example, if you're having a really tough day, the places where it's hard, there's no point going hard when you're feeling like because you're going to feel a lot worse. So when I'm having those tough moments, I tend to take it really easy where it's hard. And then I give it, you know, as much as I've got or as much as I'm comfortable with putting out where it's easy. And then psychologically, you can be like, wow, I'm really going on this descent. Like I've really got some good power. I'm really feeling good. And that can often also be enough to just turn your body around a little bit, because a lot of it is, you know, even a placebo. You really need to just get out of, I mean, you've just got out of the water laying on your stomach for however long. You really need to let everything settle down, you know, and I just like to just sort of get into the ride. And then that last 20 minutes, I really look forward to it because I feel like I'm home, you know, and I can then start to just sort of back it off and freshen up a little bit. But that middle part, yeah, it's really, really variable. And I guess the key thing there is if you don't feel good, don't make yourself feel worse. Just be aware it's a long day.
And do you analyse the course before so that you know those sections and how to attack them and how to ride them?
If you can do recon of a course, it's always the best. I mean, again, you waste a lot of psychological energy worrying about what's coming up. It's like I see the difference when I'm behind and then when I get in front. You know, you're like behind, you're looking up the road, and you're seeing where you're going, and then all of a sudden you're in front, and then for some reason you're just more relaxed.
Yeah.
It seems so much easier. Yet, in theory, you should be a hell of a lot more tired because you've had to get there. Knowledge of the course is crucial. And obviously knowing where a hard climb is going to finish or a long descent's going to be, or, you know, the rest stop, the feed zones, all those things, you know, are all really important to having a great race.
Okay, finally, another thing that I'm quite interested in, and we get asked a lot on the channel, is about riding a TT bike, that TT focus. How often do you ride this bike?
Once a week, once every 2 weeks, once every 10 days. Yeah, I mean, certainly not more than once a week. You can't naturally produce the same amount of power and strength and speed in this position as you can on a normal road bike, which is obviously much more comfortable, much more powerful position. So 75 to 80% of my training is all done on a road bike and just a little bit on this, just to make sure my muscles and everything know how to do it, and enough that on race day it's not like oh wow, what on earth are you doing to me here? You know, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it means I can enjoy my training more. You know, it's obviously much more enjoyable riding up mountains on a road bike and down the other side.
Cool. So in terms of the training you're actually doing, the TT session or two that you do during the week, that is very much tri-focused.
Yeah, the one session I'll always do is very much a tri-focused sort of a training session, you know, it's always a brick, you know, and it's generally somewhere anywhere between 2 and 4 hours of race pace, you know, whether it's a half Ironman pace or a full Ironman sort of an effort. You never seem to overachieve in this sport. You know, if you haven't done it in training, you're not going to do it on race day. So if you want to be able to ride a good time trial in an Ironman, because everyone says, how do I ride faster? How do I ride faster? I was like, well, I don't really know, but I ride that fast all the time in training. I mean, I'm not actually doing anything special on race day. I'm merely trying to do as good a bike as possible so I can also do a good run. So I think that's another key point. You know, you need to train the way you race.
Well, I like the phrase, train hard, race easy.
Exactly. And that's really how I mean, especially in this sport, when you're training for 3 different things, day in, day out, you have a lot of accumulated fatigue, you're training on tired legs a lot. You know, I mean, you really should be able to enjoy race day. I mean, that should be the best day of them all. So, but yeah, I mean, it's different for everyone. But again, a bit like with the pacing, a bit like when you're on the course, a bit like starting to stay comfortable, those little things to make sure that you feel good throughout the race, adopt that in your training. You know, if you're not comfortable on your time trial bike riding it 5 days a week, don't do it. Yeah. You know, ride something else or go for a walk or ride a mountain bike or something, you know, mix it up because you're still getting the neuromuscular benefits. So.
Well, that's been amazing, Cam. Thanks so much for that. I think there's some really valuable tips that everyone's going to take away in this video. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more videos from GTN, just click on the globe and subscribe.
Particularly the swimming one by Lucy Charles, which I watch all the time because I need to improve my swimming.
Well, that's where all our views come from. If you'd like to see our Emma Pallant video, top tips to run faster, just click down here.